Your voice is not clear, Bharat.
Is it better now?
Now it is better.
Okay, thanks. So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the AI Ever. This is season one, and this is session four in this season one. Today, I'm going to talk about autonomous minds, decoding the potential of AI agents. Just to confirm again, so you are able to see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I wanted to thank Sridhar, Raj, and Rajat for giving me an opportunity to present this AI agent topic. I wanted to start with a brief introduction about myself, and I'm Bharat Kumar. I'm working as a technical consultant in FIS. I'm having 14 years of software industry experience. Have worked on various technologies, mainly on the web application development, right from Java, J2EE, .NET, then various front-end technologies, databases as such. So mainly I worked on the product development, the production support, then even the delivery as a system integrator. I've been part of the pre-sales from last 4 years. So, as you all know, from the past 2 years, there's a tremendous progress in the artificial intelligence space. This is something each and every one of us are aware of it. And we know, like with the Gen AI, we have seen a fascinating change in the software industry. We have seen, like, as a developers, we have seen, like, we are able to generate the code with the large language models. We have seen the Claude, the Chat GPT, the Perplexity being used extensively. And now people are not at all using the Google. They have started using the Perplexity. So that is what the change we have seen in the last 2 years. And there's no exception to me as well. So I started exploring on the Gen AI, mainly focusing on the large language models. As you know, basically the large language models, it is just a technology and it's a foundation. But when we wanted to build an application, we need something on top of it as a framework. That is where the retrieval augmented generation, that is widely known as RAG, or like the AI agents, which is something which I'm going to discuss in this session, comes into picture. That helps in building a production ready enterprise grade applications. Okay, so in this session, we will discuss on, like, what are AI agents, what is the difference between a large language model and an AI agent, and then we discuss some of the design patterns available in this AI agent space, and then we will have a quick look at building a simple application. Though I will not be building from the scratch, I have built something, a simple application. That is something I'm going to demo in this session. And then we will look at, like, what is in store for agentic AI or the AI agents in the future. So before going to the introduction, I wanted to just quote a few of the kind of a well-known AI leaders quotes from the software industry. So I've just taken three quotes. This is to highlight what is the significance of this AI agents and, like, how important it is in the AI industry. So according to Satya Nadella, is the CEO of Microsoft. Everyone knows about that. So he feels that AI agents is going to be the primary way we are going to interact with the computers in the future. He feels that we basically interact with an AI agent. So what it does is it is able to understand our needs and it is able to proactively help us. And then, according to Jeff Bezos, he feels that AI agents is going to become our digital assistants. We know, like, I mean, a CEO or a CTO will have their personal assistant, but we cannot have a personal assistant. We will be having a digital assistant in the future in terms of AI agents. So, which helps us in solving some complex tasks in the future. And similarly, Jensen, the CEO of NVIDIA, talks highly about this AI agents, and he feels like thousands and millions of AI agents would be available in the future, which help us solve our day-to-day activities. So this is just to give you a glimpse on like what we are going to see in the future. Okay, so next we will discuss on what exactly is AI agent. This is the introduction slide where like I wanted to give you a glimpse of what is AI agent is all about. So AI agents can do autonomous decision making. What does that mean? When it comes to LLM, we know like I mean large language model, say like take an example of chat GPT. What exactly it does? You will be giving a prompt. You will be asking a question, then it will respond with an response, right? Whatever the answer specific to that question. That's it. But can it solve any of a task, a day-to-day task, or anything like kind of automating any of the tasks you are doing, which is boring? No, it cannot do that. But AI agents has that capability, and then it is having that capability to interact with the external world. It is able to gather data. It is able to basically adjust to the actions, whatever based on the changing conditions. Say, like if there's any changing condition, it is able to adapt to it. Okay, so it's not like a rule based, like whatever the applications we used to see till now, it is basically a rule based. It's like a if else condition. You will be having like, okay, if this criteria is met, then it has to happen this way. But when it comes to the AI applications, it is not the way we are going to use it. It's kind of you can ask any kind of question and it should be able to adapt to it. So those capabilities AI agents brings into picture. Okay. So instead of just going with the theoretical explanation, let me give you an example which makes it more easier to understand what exactly these AI agents are. So basically, a non-agentic workflow, that is nothing but like usage of a chat GPT, which we call it as a zero shot prompting. What exactly is zero shot prompting? It's just like you are asking a question and chat GPT responds with an answer. Okay. So take an example. If you want to create a kind of a write an essay, okay, what you would say, you will ask chat GPT, okay, write an essay on this particular topic. Then it will start generating the tokens and it will generate the content. And basically, it is kind of it starts and it finishes. There's not much of a thinking and a reasoning happening. And as we all know, like there are new large language models are coming in, which embeds this reasoning capability, but still, like whatever the LLM can do with a zero shot prompting, that is just with a question, it's just like it starts and it finishes. But when it comes to an agentic workflow, basically it does this as if an human is writing an essay. Say, like if you wanted to write an essay, what exactly you would do? Basically, you will outline the topic. Say, like, okay, this is how my introduction should be. This is my body should be. This is how my conclusion should be. Like that, you will have an outline. Then basically, you will start searching on that topic. You will be maybe searching in a website or maybe searching somewhere in the database. So you would get that content. Then you will be creating a first draft. So once a first draft is created, what you would do, then again you will revise it. You will see like what changes need to be done. In case like if more research is needed, then again you will do a research. So this is how a human would write an essay. So that is something an agentic workflow or an AI agent or an agentic AI can mimic. Okay. So hope this answers like what exactly is an AI agent? And this is a simple explanation on the AI agent. Now we will see like what are all the different capabilities AI agents possess on top of LLMs. Before going to the differences, I just wanted to clarify one thing. AI agent is something built on top of large language models. So, what is AI agent? It's a framework. It's a framework on top of large language models to kind of have that extra reasoning, planning, and making an API call to an external world and gathering the data and collaborating. Okay, so these are some of the things which AI agents brings into picture. So now we will see some of the major differences with the LLMs and the AI agents. So first one is the text processing. As we all know, LLMs like a chat GPT, it's very good in generating or like processing or summarization of a text. But AI agents, what it brings in is it is able to execute the task. It is able to take actions. So that is something it brings in. So when it comes to the interaction, as we spoke in the last slide as well, it's a zero shot prompting. It's like you are giving an input or a prompt, and then the
Thank you guys.
LLM responds with a
Thank you guys
output.
for the love.
So this is kind of a
Yeah,
single interaction.
yeah.
But when it
Keep
comes to
going
an AI
together.
agent,
Supporting us,
it is
supporting this community.
about
You guys are there talking a lot,
learning from its
being with us,
kind
being
of the previous actions. Okay, it
hello,
observes what
Poised.
actions it has taken and it
Hi, this is
improvises that action. Okay, so it's that
Poised.
extra learning capability what it brings in that makes this AI agents special.
Yeah, we
So
keep
when
going
it
together.
comes to large language model, it is limited to the conversation. That is something I mean, it cannot interact with an external world. There are some exceptions, say like a perplexity. Perplexity, we can call it as an AI agent because it can interact with the actual uh, kind of the live data. Okay, so it is kind of a Google plus a chat GPT. So that is something like AI agents brings in. Okay, it's not only just doing a web search, it is more than that. When it comes to an enterprise grade application, you might have to interact with multiple systems. Okay, say take an example of a travel planner. So I wanted to build a travel planner application. Then definitely, like there are different steps involved in that. I need to search for the flights. I need to search for the hotels. I need to check like what are all the different attractions available in that city. Okay, so these are some of the things like an API calling, a function calling, okay, which
Hello,
we call it in
hello,
terms of the Gen AI. So that is something we can do with the AI agents.
hello, Bharat. Am I audible?
So
Hello,
hello,
hello, Bharat. Am I audible?
yeah,
Yeah, can you mute this Taiwo because background noise is coming a lot.
sorry, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
okay, all
muted
right.
now.
Yeah, yeah, all right.
Thanks, Trisha. So now, coming to the memory, like we talked about the text, the interaction, the system interaction, that is like interacting with the external world. Now, when it comes to the memory, we know, like, I mean, whenever we are creating a chat conversation in a chat GPT or a Claude, it is specific to the chat conversation. It doesn't know anything beyond that chat conversation. But when it comes to AI agents, we can have a short term memory or a long term memory. Like it can learn from its past experiences. That is something, the advantage it brings in. And then the last is the decision making. This is something we talked about in the previous slide also. LLM cannot take any decisions, but AI agents can take that decisions, and it helps in automating the tasks by taking autonomous decisions. Okay, so these are some of the advantages of AI agents over LLM. Now, in the next slide, we will see like what is the performance? What is the performance we are getting with respect to AI agents over large language model? Okay, so human eval, it's one of the widely used coding benchmark. Okay, so what we are taking here is GPT 3.5. I mean, GPT 3.5 is one of the chat GPT models, which is around 170 billion parameters, and GPT-4 is one of the latest. I mean, we have this GPT-4 Omni and all, but still GPT-4 is one of the latest, and it might be having 1 trillion parameters. Okay, so it's a huge model compared to a GPT 3.5. And when we look at the zero shot prompting, we could see like the benchmark, the coding benchmark score for a GPT 3.5 is around 48%, but for a GPT-4 is 67%. What does that mean? Like, as the model start growing, like the performance of it increases, right? So, but with respect to the AI agents, these are some of the papers with respect to the coding and with respect to the languages and with respect to the reflection mechanisms. Okay, so what it shows us, if the same GPT 3.5 is used as a base, and if you build an AI agent, then the score can reach more than 90%, which even the GPT-4 is not able to reach that level, though it's a very huge model. It is around 67%. But the performance, or like the human eval score for an AI agent, is it can go beyond 90%. That shows like with a smaller model, relatively a smaller model, we can get a better output. Okay, so with respect to GPT-4, I mean, it has kind of exceeded the performance of the GPT 3.5, but still, whatever we are getting with an AI agent using GPT 3.5 is much better. What does that mean? With relatively small language model, you can get a better performance. That means you are saving more energy, and the tokenization, in the sense, I mean, basically the token generation. The token generation speed for a relatively small model would be higher with a less hardware. Okay, so that's one of the advantage. So AI agents with all those kind of design patterns, which we are going to discuss now, it is giving a best performance compared to a normal large language model. So whenever we consider kind of building any application, we look at design patterns. This is something like, I mean, whenever like if you people have already like been part of the software industry, means you would be knowing like we always like build the design patterns so that like, I mean, we are not reinventing the wheel. So similarly, when it comes to the AI agents, we have these 4 design patterns, that is the planning, the reflection, the tools usage, and the multi-agent collaboration. Okay, so we will look into these design patterns in detail. So when it comes to the planning design pattern, okay, so what does that mean? It is basically breaking down a complex task into multiple steps. It is basically, what does a planning mean in terms of a English word? So it is like you are planning for to complete some particular action. Okay, that is what a planning means, right? So here also it breaks down a task into multiple steps so that a complex objective can be solved with the smaller steps. Okay, so this is nothing but the planning design pattern. Let me give you an example. When you wanted to kind of write a research paper, if you wanted to write a research paper, basically the steps would be, you will have a topic, then you have to basically do a web search, or like do an analysis on that topic, gather information, then basically you need to start with like an introduction about that topic and developing the content for the topic. So these are some of the steps. I'm just giving some random example. Okay, so this is nothing but the planning. What exactly you need to do to achieve that task? That is nothing but the planning. Okay, so this is one of the design patterns, and it is being used in building the AI agentic application. And the next design pattern is reflection. What does that mean? I mean, reflection is nothing but a self-evaluation. So assume, like in that research paper itself, you have planned, like, okay, these are the different steps I need to follow. Then, as part of the first step, you have to gather information. Then, basically, you gathered some information and you need to see whether the information collected is enough or not for writing a research paper. That is basically a self evaluation. You have done something, but you are evaluating to make it kind of more fruitful and like improve that whatever the task you are doing. Okay, so this is nothing but a reflection design pattern. Okay, it doesn't mean like we have 4 design patterns and everything would be used in all of the agentic AI application, but most of these are generally used. Okay, it's not mandatory like all 4 need to be used in an agentic AI application. So the next one is on the tool usage. The tool usage is nothing but interacting with an external world. So as we all know, like how an interaction happens, and in this modern world, like with any web application, you might have seen it's via APIs. So basically, API can be one of the tool. Okay, it's not only the tool, but it can be one of the tool where like if you are building an enterprise grade application, you might have to gather information from multiple sources. Okay, so that is where this tool usage comes into picture. Okay, so basically with this one, you would be able to kind of connect with the external kind of world with the APIs, and it is able to solve some of the complex tasks because data is very much important. And if we are able to gather the data via APIs and use that to solve the task, then definitely that would be something needed for building a production ready application. The next design pattern is on the multi-agent collaboration. So what exactly is a multi-agent collaboration? Take an example of a travel planner, that is kind of a travel agency, you can say. So when it comes to a travel agency, there are multiple things they have to do. Once you get into a travel agency, and if you say like, I wanted to plan a trip, say to Australia, then basically they would ask like, okay, fine. So how many people are traveling? Like, when exactly you wanted to travel? What's your budget? Then accordingly, they will start checking like the hotels, and then maybe the flights. Some other guy might be start working on the visa. So there are multiple things. There are multiple departments would be there. So if you take just an example of a make my trip also, right? There are different people would be working, different departments. So that is something this multi-agent collaboration is. Okay, where like you will have different people who will be working together to solve a task. Okay, so this is another design pattern. So now, before going to the actual agentic AI application and discuss on what exactly it is made up of, I wanted to just talk about where exactly these AI agents are making, creating a magic. Okay, so when it comes to the customer service, okay, so customer service is one of the area where the generative AI is making a real impact. Okay, where like if there is any query, it can respond to it autonomously. Okay, so basically there won't be any delayed inquiries with respect to a customer service application. It can be handled instantly with Gen AI, with the AI agentic applications. Okay, with respect to the research as well, like now we have seen where like the research papers are being created with the Gen AI. Okay, so these with the AI agents, like the research, I mean, it's not only related to kind of writing a research paper, it's about doing the research and all. It has been kind of having a major impact with the AI agents, and we are able to see a tremendous kind of faster pace in the research field with the AI agents, and similarly with the data management, like the complex transformations with respect to the data pipeline, or like a personal productivity. It is basically something which can help you in day-to-day task. Okay, we have seen AI applications for our day-to-day task. Say like if you say a meeting recorder, like if you have seen in the Teams, whenever we finish a meeting, like it can share the summary of the meeting, like whatever the kind of the next actions you need to do. If you haven't attended the meeting also, it's fine. You can see like the summary of that meeting. You will get to know the next actions, like what you need to do. So this is some of the applications, right? The AI applications. So similarly on software development, I mean, software development, it has changed tremendously. I can say like if you wanted to build some React applications and all with the Cloudy workspace, I mean, it's so easy. You can just give the instructions and it will come up with a draft, and basically it can render that basically, or like you can say interpret or run that code, right? So that is what the changes we are seeing. And this is still with the LLMs. But when it comes to agentic AI, if time permits, I wanted to show some of the uh, videos with respect to the vision agents. Okay. So that shows like what level of this the changes this AI agents is bringing in this industry. Okay. So now enough of talking on like what are the agents capabilities and all. Now let us just talk about some of the concepts. Okay, some of the um, uh, kind of concepts and the components of the AI agents. When it comes to the agentic orchestration layer, where exactly it sits. Okay, it sits in the middle, but like if I have to start with the semiconductors, that's the hardware, right? So that's the base. Then we have the cloud infrastructure. We have different cloud providers for that. Then on top of it, we have this foundation models. So foundation models basically is the technology. That is the large language model. That's the technology. On top of this technology, we have this agentic orchestration layer. So this is a framework sitting on top of large language models. Okay. So once we say a framework, definitely like we will see multiple frameworks in the market. And these are some of the widely known agentic AI frameworks. That is LangChain, is the company, and LangGraph is the AI agentic framework. Okay, then Creo AI, and then AutoGen from Microsoft. Okay, so these are some of the widely known frameworks available for building an AI agentic application. Okay, so in today's session, I focus on Creo AI because it's very easy to understand, and it's kind of uh, uh, just mapping directly to the agent and tasks. So once I show those things, you would be able to make sense of these AI agents very easily. Okay. So that's why I've chosen, and it's one of the simplest framework I can say. So these are some of the applications. I mean, going into it, there are wide varieties of applications which have been built using the AI agents. So when we talk about building any system, okay, so these are some of the existing systems in our current world where like what exactly they would be doing. So there will be some research happening where like it can be gathering the information from a document or an internet or from of the CRM I've just mentioned, that's a customer relationship management. So it's just about like multiple applications in the enterprise ecosystem that would be used to gather that, right? Gathering of the data is one of the important thing. Then the analysis, like you might have to compare, you have to extract or like derive some values or like some result based on those things. That is the analysis, the extraction or the research, the analysis. Then after that, the summary. That is basically like you might have to generate charts or an executive summary, or like you would be learning something out of it. That is basically the next level. Then the last one is the reporting. So when you take any application in the modern world, so it is mostly is related to these things where research, analysis, summary, and reporting. These are the things which comes into picture. Okay, so these things can be divided as a task. When we are building an AI agent, these will be considered as a task. Okay. So before going to the agents, what exactly an agent mean? I just wanted to talk about what's an AI application. When it comes to a normal application, say like if you are building a web application or any application, right, with a normal programming language, it is strong typed inputs. That means like, say, if you wanted to give an integer, you have to give an integer. You cannot give something else. You cannot give a string for that. Okay, so it is basically a strongly typed data input is needed, and it will be a rule based. Okay, so there's nothing like, I mean, you can just input whatever you want. But when it comes to an AI application, the input, whatever it takes, is a fuzzy input. That is like there's no structure for it. You can give whatever the input you want to give. Okay, then the AI should be intelligent enough to understand what is that input. It would be in an unstructured format, but it should be able to understand. Okay, so that's a black box, and that AI, you are not writing something, right? Whenever like you are building an AI application, you are playing around with the prompts. Okay, you are telling the LLM, okay, you have to solve this task, and you have these information, you have to solve with these steps. That is what the prompt you will be providing. But you will not write a rule saying that, okay, if else condition, or like saying that, okay, this should be an integer string. No, we will not define those things. Okay, so it's a black box, and it takes a fuzzy input, that is kind of no structure involved, and then it generates an output. Okay, I mean, we can generate in a certain structure actually. Say like if you want some response to be generated in a particular JSON format, yes, we have that capability. But the main thing is on the fuzzy input, like it can take input in any format. Okay, so now we'll move on to the agent. When it comes to an agent, as I mentioned earlier, AI agent is nothing but a framework on top of large language model. So we saw like, what's a task? We saw like, I mean, research, analysis, summary, or a report generation is a task basically, right? So then basically this large language model uses the tools. Okay, so tools can be an API or like a function call where like, I mean, some code which has to be executed. Okay, so that's a tool. It knows like what's a task, and it is having tools which can be used to gather information, and using this it will generate a answer or a response. Okay, so this is a single agent. So this whole thing is called a agent. Then we can have multi-agent. That is like if we are taking a travel planner thing, one agent may be searching for a hotel and a flight information. Another agent can do a planning, in the sense, I mean, it can plan and come up with an itinerary for your trip. Okay, so this is something we can have with multiple agents, where like multiple agents can delegate the task, it can basically interact with each other. Okay, so with this one, it collaboratively solves a complex task. Okay, so that is this multi-agent. But when it comes to a production ready application, right, we need something more than that. We need a caching capability. Say like a large language model, if it has to generate something similar to the previous input, right? Then some caching is mechanism is needed. Say like a tool, if it is an API call, and if it is something which is not going to change frequently, then why to make another API call? Then we can make use of the caching mechanism. And similarly, the memory. Like we should have the short-term and long-term memories, right? That is where the advantage of this AI agents comes into picture. So then basically we should have a mechanism to train these agents also. Say like if you are building an agent which is basically doing some task, if you can train that so that like it behaves in a similar fashion, right? That would be such an advantage for us. So these are some of the things. Along with that, the guardrails is so important. And with respect to the AIs, yeah, we have seen, like, I mean, it can hallucinate. So with LLMs, it can generate some junk data sometimes, and sometimes it can influence. It can get influenced, right? So securing the application and making sure that it is ethical, right? All these things can be part of the guardrail. So now, this is what we are looking at. Like, and framework should bring in all these capabilities. It should have a capability to create multiple agents, have capability to call external APIs, having caching, memory, training capabilities with the guardrail capabilities, right? So this is what a framework need to bring in. Okay. So this is nothing but the multi-crew. This is I'll talk about this next. It's basically like if we have, this is one crew where like multiple agents are there, then we can have multiple crews. That is basically kind of one application interacting with another AI application. Okay, so that is a multi-crew thing. So these are the capabilities an agentic framework need to bring in. And also, like one of the important thing is on the tasks execution, like how exactly tasks need to be executed. So is it a sequential thing? Is it like, okay, first you need to get hotel prices if you are building an travel planner application, then after getting the hotel pricing, then you have to go for a flight search. Then after that you need to check for the attractions or the kind of activities or attractions which you wanted to do in that trip, right? So if you wanted to do it sequentially, that is one pattern. Or like maybe you wanted to do it hierarchical, where like it doesn't kind of simultaneously, or it can be both sequential and hierarchical. That's an hybrid way. Okay. So these are some of the things an AI agent should be able to offer, right? So whenever we are dividing a task, how exactly the tasks need to be executed, whether sequential, hierarchical, hybrid, or it should be in a parallel or an async way. Asynchronous is another kind of execution, right? So these capabilities should be provided in the agentic framework. Okay, so now we talk more about the capabilities of an agentic framework. Okay, as I mentioned in this session, I'm mainly focusing on the Preview AI since it's very easy to understand. Okay, so it brings in all those capabilities which we mentioned. Okay, so it is having the capability where you can define the agents. You can say like what exactly an agent should do. Then you can assign tasks to it. It can be one task per agent or like a multiple task for that agent. Okay, so you can say like what tools it should use. Okay, what tools an agent or a task should use. Okay, so maybe a tool can be a web search or it can be an API call. Okay, so these are the tools, and we will be saying like, okay, these are the tools it can use, and it identifies based on the input and the requirement. It identifies which tool to be used, and it makes use of that tool to gather that information. Okay. Apart from that, as we talked about, it provides the memory, the training, delegation, testing capabilities, the guardrails. So all these features which are needed for an agentic AI application is provided by this framework. So just a time check. So we have 20 minutes in hand. So now I just wanted to showcase like what exactly you will be defining in an agent. So with this particular framework, with a Creo AI, you have to define a role. You'll be mentioning, okay? So like, what's the role of this agent? It's a senior data researcher. So you are saying that you need to act as a senior data researcher, okay? So you are telling that you have to act as this particular user, right? So then you will be giving a goal to it. So uncover cutting edge developments. That means you are saying it has to identify some cutting edge developments. Okay. So whatever the things mentioned in the curly braces, these are the dynamic inputs based on whatever the topic you are providing. Based on that, it does this research. Okay. So the backstory is like giving some context to that agent. Okay. So saying that you are a seasoned researcher with a knack of uncovering, just give some prompts. Okay. So these are some of the things you would be doing. So there's nothing like a programming involved here. This is something anyone who are just good at giving the prompts right can do this thing. Okay. So that is something where we are going. We are not focusing on kind of the programming capabilities and all. So it's just about giving the prompts, okay, and giving a particular role to the agents and assigning a particular goal and giving a context to that agent. And when it comes to the tasks as well, okay, so each task, it will be associated with a particular agent. Say this particular research task, we are saying it is part of a research agent. So agent, you can say a particular role. Say if one human is performing a particular role, then that can become an agent. That's as simple as that. Okay. So whatever the tasks he would be performing, okay, he can perform multiple tasks that would be associated with that particular role or an agent. Okay. So, and what should be the expected output? What you are expecting out of this task, right? That is something you will be providing here in the task. So now I'll just go on to a quick demo. Since it's just a 1 hour session, we cannot spend time in building the application. So what I've done is just created a travel planner application. Okay. So I'm not going to talk about the complete code. I just focus on whatever the relevant things. Okay. So this is how you create a crew. Okay. So you will be mentioning what a queue is nothing but an application you can imagine. Okay. So travel planner, for this, we have one queue defined. And you are saying, okay, we have two agents. One is research agent and a planning agent. We have defined two agents, basically defining two roles. Okay. To plan a particular trip. Then we are creating tasks for it. Okay, so this is available in this particular method. So if I just want to this one, you can say like we have this flight research task. What exactly we are doing here? We have given a description saying search for flights with these details, and it takes departure city, destination, start date, end date, and number of adults, the currency. And if you notice here, this is the important thing, the flight tool. This is something which I have defined here, where like it this flight tool makes an API call, okay, to gather the flight information. And that is being defined here, saying that for this flight research task, I have associated a tool. You can associate multiple tools for this particular task. And it is intelligent enough to choose whatever the tool you need, since it's having only one tool. And if it needs this, and it calls that particular API automatically. Okay, so you have an API, and that is being written in another Python code, and you're just referring to that tool. And basically in this one, I'm just saying that it's a tool. Okay, so I'm mentioning this is a tool and these are the inputs it takes. Okay, then this tool can be called from this task. Okay, or like you can associate it with an agent. Then whatever the tasks, if I have to Again, reiterate, agent sits on the top. It's for a particular role. Then we have multiple tasks. A tool can be associated with an agent or with a task. Then, if it's with an agent, all the tasks under that agent will have access to that tool. Okay, so this is how a task or an agent can interact with a tool. Okay, similarly, we have this hotel research task, and then we have attraction research task. And I don't have a tool for this one. What does that mean? It just make use of the large language model. Okay, so for this task, it is nothing but like as if like you are, if you are using an OpenAI, then that is for the LLM. If you are using OpenAI, it is nothing but you are interacting with a chat GPT. You are asking that, okay, have this information, give me kind of an um, attractions or a tourist attractions in that particular place. Okay, it's as if directly talking to an LLM. Okay, so this itinerary task, this is also same thing. We don't have a tool for this. Okay, so we are just saying create a day by day itinerary, and we are saying this is the start date, end date, all these information dynamically it is getting passed. Okay, so similarly, these agents are being defined where we are saying for the research agent, this is the goal. This is the backstory saying you're an experienced travel researcher with extensive knowledge of destinations worldwide. So it is just giving a context to an LLM saying like, this is the particular role you need to play. Okay, so there's no coding involved as such. It's more of prompts. Yes, some bit of coding on the API side is needed, but if it is an existing one, yeah, there's nothing much you need to do. It's just about the prompts, and you are making use of the LLM capabilities to its best to get the desired results. Okay, so now I just stopped it. Let me run this again. I've just created a simple UI interface just to input some of the data uh, for this travel planner application. Okay, so this has been built using the Streamlit. And again, this is very simple thing. And even like if you go to the GitHub repositories of the Crew AI or like AutoGen or like the LangGraph, you will see wide varieties of examples. Okay, so now I'm just running it. So yep, I'm just inputting some data. So destination is Singapore, the a city where like is departing from us, Paris. Let me change the date to tomorrow's date. Okay, so number of adults I'm changing. Let me keep number of children as 0. Currency I've kept it as Europe since it's from Paris. So I've just kept some budget. Maybe I keep 10,000. Okay, so these are the inputs. These are the dynamic inputs, right? Whenever you are using the application, you are just giving it. And we can enrich this. We can just give one text box where like they can write whatever they want. And then using LLM, we can derive these values. That's another way. Say, just take an example of this interest. This is a free text field. They can give whatever their interest are. Based on this, the attractions and the itinerary, whatever is planned, would be based on this interest. Okay, so now I'm clicking on the plan my trip. I'll just go back here. If you see here, I've turned on this verbose, okay, for the agent and for the crew. What does that mean? It means that it's kind of a debugging logs. Okay, so if you see here, first thing is the travel researcher agent, which is being invoked. And what does that do? It says this is the agent, and whatever the information we had fed to it as part of the role, right? All those things are taken, and it used this as a tool input. Whatever the information we keyed in the UI, that is used as the tool input. And what does that tool kind of did here? It searched for the available flights from Paris to Singapore. Okay, so and it basically the outbound and the return flights have been checked, and it gave like the airline details, the price, everything has been shared. So since it's on the kind of the euro currency. The price is in the euro. That is what I had inputted in the UI. Then after that, what exactly it has to do, this particular first task is to find out the flight details. Once that is done, it has to do basically a hotel search. So with a hotel search, what exactly it is doing, it is finding out the check-in, check-out, the location. Okay, so this is the destination. Oh, sorry, Krishna, can you please go on mute? Uh, Hello. Okay, now the echo stopped. Now the next one is on the finding the hotels, right? So again, we are using the tool to find the hotels. So it used the check-in dates and all, then it found these hotels. Okay, so once this is found, it has basically um, deciding like what is the final answer. Okay, again it revisits. This is basically the reflection pattern. The first one is the tool usage pattern. This is the reflection pattern, right? So where like basically it revises that results and makes sure that the result whatever has been finalized, it has been after thorough review. Now the last one is on the attraction search. First the flight, next the hotel, next the attraction. So this is directly with the LLM. And for this particular application, I'm using Grok API. Okay, so Grok is basically providing this capability where like I mean it can provide large language models such as the open source large language models, mainly the meta models and all are available there. Okay, so this is using one of the meta large language model, and these are the attractions it returned. Okay, it need not be using a large language model. If you have another tool to get the attractions, then maybe that can be used. And then the last thing is with the another agent. If you see all these agents with the travel researcher, but this one is on the itinerary planner. Okay, we add two agents. So here, basically, this is the input given. This is the task associated with that. And here is the response. It gave like for all those days, right? Starting from 21st, 22nd, 23rd, it gave the itinerary. Okay, so this is a simple application with whatever the prompt which I felt like, I mean, which is relevant. I just inputted that. Okay, so you could see if it has to be built. So if something has to be built with a normal application, right, it would take months basically. Now with the AI agents, everything is fast track. You can build um, AI agent applications within few days, or maybe like within few weeks you can do the thorough testing, and like it would be production ready. This is what we are kind of going to see in the future, and I'll be talking more on the futuristic aspects of the agentic AI. And if you could see here, so this is from the Gartner report. Gartner is one of the kind of a famous a company which works on these strategies, the technology trends. Okay, and it basically evaluates multiple technologies with respect to maybe a web application related to the artificial intelligence and much more than that. Okay, so according to this Gartner report, it says in 2025 agentic AI stands like, or like it tops this chart. Okay, so it's one of the leading kind of a technology which is kind of widely used now itself, but in the future it is growing in demand. Okay, so according to a Capgemini survey as well, we could see like 10% of the organizations have already started. We have seen like this usage in multiple organizations already, and like more than 50% of them are already thinking, like most of them, you can say like 50% of them are already thinking of building applications using AI agents next year in the 2025. That's why like it is standing as one of the leading technology for 2025. Okay. And this is something, I mean, whatever I showed is mainly on the text generation, right? But this AI agent capability is beyond the text generation. Okay. So these are some of the trends which we are seeing. Okay. When it comes to the AI agents, when I gave a demo, you could notice it's more about large language models, right? You will be giving inputs, you are getting some output, use that as a context, and again revising it with a reflection pattern, and then use tools to gather input, again use that as a context to solve a particular task. So, what is important is the token generation, right? So, basically a lot of tokens are needed with the AI agents. That's why like we need some faster and cheaper token generation mechanisms. So whatever the one which I was using is the Grok one, which is very fast, in fact, for the token generation. Okay. So we need that kind of a capabilities. We can't wait for LLMs to respond for ages, right? It has to respond in milliseconds. That is where like we can get kind of um, large benefit out of this large language models. That's why the focus is on using small language models, which can generate the text, or like, I mean, when it comes to a multimodal models or like a vision models, we wanted the image generation or a video generation, whatever it is, right, to be quicker. Okay, that is where like we have seen the large language models have hit a stagnant. Okay, so when it comes to the OpenAI, so we have seen 3.5, GPT-4, GPT-4, Omni, and all. Now, what next? Even like OpenAI agreed that, like, I mean, they cannot simply keep on increasing the kind of parameters and keep on building some a bigger models. Okay, they felt that the scaling loss, that is basically whatever we were saying with respect to hardware, like, I mean, it keeps on scaling, right? The that kind of a law is not applicable for the AI, that to mainly on the large language models. It has almost hit a stagnant path unless like we find new algorithms and new way of um, uh, kind of building the large language models. We cannot get more out of the large language models. Now we have to use whatever is available and use these different design patterns and get best out of it. Okay, so that is the next trend what we are going to see. And then on the data engineering thing also, we are seeing a lot of improvements with respect to the unstructured data, with respect to the text, images, and all. So we are kind of gaining more popularity with this, and we have seen tremendous growth in this. Now, like with the multimodal models, you can easily input any image and you can ask questions. You can ask like what exactly an image contain, and like now with the multimodal models we can get that response, right? So with the unstructured data also we are getting so much of information. And the next one is on the image processing. As I was talking about the multimodal models, the vision models, okay, and even the audio related models, the text to speech recognition, all these things, right, are becoming so famous. There will be a state in future whenever you are interacting with an application, it will be just with voice. Say like if you wanted to search any particular product, say now maybe you will go to a Flipkart or an Amazon and you will search and you will try to find out like in which particular website it is cheaper, all these things, right? Next, the things would change where like there will be applications where you will be just giving an uh, a voice command, basically saying that this is the product I need, tell me like where it is cheaper. And with the tools usage and all, maybe it can do a payment on its own, just take another voice command, a confirmation from your end, and it would be able to purchase that product within few seconds without much of intervention, just with some confirmations might be needed. This is what something we might see in the future. Okay, So considering the time, we just have 1 minute. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask now. I just wanted to show one more thing. This is one of the agentic AI application from Landing AI. So you might have heard about Andrew Ng. So he is the CEO of this company. So this is just to showcase like what AI agents can do. So this is an video basically. So if I show this video to you, you can say a shark is swimming and there are some swimmers. So this is a prompt. Can you track both people and sharks in this video? And save a video with the tracked masks of both sharks and people. What I'm trying to say is count the number of people and mask it in the sense I'll show you the result. So you can see here. So it is able to basically take the multiple frames from that image as in sorry from a video, right? And it's able to mask it. It has identified this is shark, this is person. Okay, so these are the some of the AI applications which are being built using the agents. So this is called the vision agent. This is another AI agent application. Okay, so it's not only on the text. We have moved beyond text now. The images, the videos are coming into picture. So we can say like there'll be wide varieties of applications of this AI agents in the near future. Okay, so again, like if anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. Okay, and let me just go through the chats. Sorry, since I was sharing the screen, I did not get a chance to see the chats. Yeah, when it comes to the general framework for all AI agents, yes. So the popular AI agents, it focuses on the same design patterns. Okay, so if I have to say these design patterns were given by Andrew Ng, so he is one of the AI leaders, we can say. Okay, so whoever has started with this large language models would be knowing him. Okay, so this is basically a common theme across all the agentic framework. Since pre AI, it is very simple to understand. That's why like I just chose that. What are the knowledge-based prerequisites required to learn AI agents? AI agents doesn't need much of the knowledge. As I showed you, it's basically like the prompts which you need to provide, right? Those are the critical things for building the AI agents. Definitely for the tools and all, yeah, that's a different skill set needed. But for building the AI applications, it's that to mainly on the text-based one. These frameworks gives all the necessary things. What are the knowledge-based prerequisites? Agents be used to perform regular original software-based tasks. Yeah. So AI agents, yes, definitely. Like, I mean, whenever you take anything, right? So take a GitHub Copilot, right? A GitHub Copilot workspace. These are the AI agents. So if you can see this particular example, the vision agent, what exactly it did, I gave the prompt, what it did. So it generated a code. Okay, so since we had a very kind of a less time in hand, I could not show everything. That's why I had run this previously. So basically it generated a code and it revised this code. This is a version 2. If you can see, there's a version 1 and it revised this code. And this code has been run and that did the masking of that. So you can imagine this is working on the video, on the image which has been extracted on that video, right? If it can be done on this one, on the normal coding, yeah, it's much more simpler. There are multiple tools are available already. Okay. Okay. So what I would suggest is you can go to the deeplearning.ai. There also you will find kind of courses on multiple agents, on the auto